Recorded Books presents The Modern Bestiary, a curated collection of wondrous wildlife by Joanna Bagniewska, narrated by Samara Naeymi. Introduction. Before we start, let me warn you that this is not really a book for children. So if you bought it for your baby sister, kid nephew, or little cousin because it's about animals and it has pictures, you need to be prepared for a perhaps awkward conversation about traumatic insemination, when a male uses a very sharp sex organ to stab directly through the female's abdomen into her ovaries, matrophagy, babies eating their mothers, or apophylation, essentially the phenomenon of biting off your partner's penis after sex. Animals are gross and gory and obscene, and I suspect that it could be difficult to address issues such as siblicide with children who are going through the phase of hating their brother or sister. Now that that's out of the way, welcome. Welcome to the Modern Bestiary. First of all, what is a bestiary, and why write a modern version of it? Medieval bestiaries were books of beasts, collections of creatures containing natural history information, factual or otherwise, doused in didactic sauce with a strongly Christian flavor. While animal stories have been popular for centuries across all cultures, bestiaries of the Christian West were written with a very particular goal in mind. Early church fathers, such as the 3rd century scholar Origen of Alexandria, believed that God speaks to people through creation. If we pay close enough attention to the natural world, he claimed, we will be able to grasp a deeper understanding of the Creator and of human nature. Animals and their behavior therefore presented a perfect opportunity for a moral and theological lesson. Some of these lessons were plausible. For example, ants work together for a common good, show us how humans should work in unity. Others, however, were completely off. Famously, the pelican was said to kill its young and then pierce its own breast to receive them by feeding them blood. In doing so, the bird symbolized the love and sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Mundane facts, that pelicans feed on fish and not the blood of their parents, did not get in the way of a good allegory. To further blur the line between fact and fiction, the bestiaries contained fantastical beasts, such as unicorns, phoenixes, or mermaids, alongside the real animals. The first of these moralizing collections of beasts was written sometime between the 2nd and 4th centuries AD, probably in Alexandria. This book, known as the Physiogolus, sourced animal stories from Egyptian, Hebrew, and Indian lore, as well as the works of natural philosophers, such as Aristotle, De Animalibus, and Pliny the Elder, Naturalis Historia, and used them to explain the Christian doctrine. The Physiogolus, originally written in Greek, was translated into many European and Middle Eastern languages and became hugely popular across Europe. The original contained 50-odd chapters describing animals, actual and fantastical, plants and rocks, covering everything from ants to lions to antlions. There is such a thing as an antlion. In fact, there are more than 2,000 species of these insects from the family Myrmeleontidae. But the one in the Physiogolus is a mythical beast with the face of a lion and the body of an ant, created from the mating of the two creatures. Unfortunately, it suffers something of a design fault in that the lion part can only digest meat, and the ant part can only digest grain, so it always starves to death. Over the next centuries, more entries were added, and eventually the Middle Ages saw a real bestiary boom. The illustrations complementing each entry were an important part of the bestiaries. The stories themselves, with their associated moral lessons, were not new or unknown, having been told and retold in many circumstances. Therefore, the purpose of the artwork was predominantly to jog the memory of those who couldn't read. As such, the illustrations were meant to be evocative, expressive, and didactic. Unfortunately, they were not always accurate or even realistic, mainly because the artists did not have much of a chance to see the more exotic species, or none at all when it came to the manticores, griffins, or centaurs. Instead, they based their drawings on previous illustrations.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?